Hello friends, welcome to the class once again. I hope you are doing good and you're the best of your health. So after learning all the concepts on work and energy and power, I believe that you'll be ready to practice questions. I hope that after each of the classes you would have solved examples and would have also practiced unsolved questions. So there are some basic concepts in this chapter, work, energy and power, which I believe that you'll be very much thorough with if you've watched all the lectures. Today's class will be talking about question based upon neat pattern. That is, we'll be having multiple choice question in which one option will be the correct answer. In your NEET examination, you'll be getting 45 questions in physics. In each question, you'll be having one option is the correct answer. If you mark the correct answer, you'll be getting +4 marks. If you mark incorrect, you'll be getting suffering -1 marks. And then today's class, let's talk about some basic NEET pattern questions which are likely to appear in your examination. Work, energy, power, let's go ahead. The first question of the day. A body of mass 1 kg begins to move under the action of a time-dependent force F is equal to 2t I cap plus 3t square j cap Newton, where I cap and j cap are unit vectors along x and y axis. What power will be developed by the force at time t? This is what that has been given in the question. A 2t square plus 4t power 4 watt, B 2t cube plus 3t power 4 watt, C 2t cube plus 3t power 5 watt, and D 2t plus 3t cube watt. All the basic information have been given. I believe that you must be remembering how to evaluate the power. Power is work done per unit time, and power can also be evaluated at any particular instance as F dot V. Power delivered at any particular instant of time, I have told you, just do dot product of force and velocity. We are produced with force and it's a time dependent function. So how can we find out the other variable, that is velocity, and then relating the two we can find out the power. Force is, you see, 2t I cap plus 3t square j cap. Let's go ahead, let me mark the force as 2t I cap plus 3t square j cap Newton. This is what that has been given to us. For force, we all know that acceleration A is force per unit mass. Mass, you see here, first line of the question, a body of mass 1 kg. Mass is given as 1 kg, simply we need to divide the force equation by mass. So we'll be getting, if I divide every term by 1, so we'll be getting 2t by 1 I cap plus 3t square by 1 j cap, and the unit used will be meter per square second. This is what that will be used. Now you see here, let's simplify this. If we simplify this, just we can write it as 2t I cap plus 3t square j cap meter per square second. That is what that has been given in this equation. Now see, we got the value of acceleration in terms of time t. We all know that acceleration is rate of change of velocity. So can we write acceleration as dv by dt? This is what we can do. Now dv by dt, this term is 2t I cap plus 3t square j cap with proper units meter per square second. dv, now dv can be written as this function multiplied with dt. So we can write dv is equal to 2t I cap plus 3t square j cap multiplied with 2t square j cap and multiplied with dt. We can write in this way the value of dv. We all know that how to find out the velocity at any particular instant of time. So for that, just integrate the function from 0 to v, time varying from 0 to t, 2t I cap plus 3t square j cap dt. Just integrate this function. You will be obtaining as v, and here you will be getting v, and here you will be getting, this will be t square by 2, you will be getting 2 will be cancelled out, t square I cap, and this will be t cube by 3, so 3 and 3 will be cancelled out, you will be getting plus t cube j cap. This is the value of v, and I'm not putting directly t to, I'm not putting the limits, because that you can directly check, because here you have 0, so this function will be the only function for the time. For the velocity function, this will be the only function related to time. Next thing you see, we got the velocity function and we got the force. Already we have the force, that's 2t I cap plus 3t square j cap. Power delivered at any particular instant of time, that is the dot product of force and velocity. So straightway you can write power is equal to F dot V. Any time when dot product you have to take, that means the result will be scalar quantity. Simply put force as 2t I cap plus 3t square j cap. 2t I cap plus 3t square j cap, dot product with velocity, that is t square I cap plus t cube j cap. This is what we need to do. Now you see, just take dot product, simply you will be getting, multiply this with this and this with this, we will be obtaining 2t cube plus 3t to the power 5 in watts. That because all things are in proper SI units, so power will be appearing in watts. So 2t cube plus 3t to the power 5, this is the value of the function for power. 2t cube plus 3t to the power 5, if you see, A incorrect, B incorrect, C is the one that is matching, 2t cube plus 3t to the power 5, rest D is also incorrect. So I believe that how to evaluate the value of power when force is given, these are the stepwise you need to follow and reach on to the result. Good question for your practice, and I believe that this would be helpful for you all. Next question of the class, let's go ahead. Question number 2. What is the minimum velocity with which a body of mass m must enter a vertical loop of radius r so that it can complete the loop? So we have a vertical loop has to be made. You can take a stone tied to a string and just whirl this string in a vertical circle. Then at the bottom, what minimum velocity you have to give to so that it can reach at the topmost point. Option number A, under root 2 rg, option B, under root 3 rg, option number C, under root 5 rg, under root D option, under root g rg. So let's check. I believe that you can understand the scenario and how to proceed with it. Let me show you here. So we have a body is performing a vertical circular motion. This is the motion that the body is performing, and let me show you that you have taken a string and a stone tied here. Let's say the mass of this stone is m. So now see here the forces that will be acting. At the bottommost point, if you give the minimum velocity, let's say it's given as u. U is the minimum velocity that you have provided. All the forces that are acting on it, you see here, mg will be acting downward, tension T will be acting within this string upward. This is the force equation that I have written. Now see, because the body is moving in circular motion, we can write that the net force at the bottommost point will be equal to the centripetal force. So we can write that, and let me mark this tension as T1. Let us mark that this tension is T1. So T1 minus mg will be equal to mu square by r, where r is the length of the string that we have taken. R is the length of the string that we have taken. Now you see here, as it whirls, it will reach at the topmost point. To show the particles position at topmost point, let me draw a magenta colored string. Now see, at the body is the topmost point. It has to complete the circle. Let's say the velocity here is v. Again, if I write on the forces that will be actually appearing here, tension T will be within this string. Again, tension T always acts away from the object, I have already told you. Its weight mg will be acting downward. The velocity at the topmost point is given as v. And you see, for the topmost point, if I write, let's say this position is A and this position is B. So for A we have framed the equation. For B, at position B, we can write that tension is T2, a new tension will appear, let's say it's T2. So T2 plus mg is equal to, let me mark that as mv square by r. The radius will be the same, mv square by r. I have written this value here. Now you see here how to proceed. Since it needs to proceed with the minimum velocity here so that it just reaches the topmost point, can we say that the minimum value of this tension will be 0? so that all the centripetal force is provided by the mass of the object. The tension if we equate to 0, so for limiting value we are going to take tension T2 as 0. Tension T2 is 0, that means mg equals to mv square by r. So we will be having mg equals to mv square by r. So v square will be equal to rg. One thing you will be obtaining here, v square is equal to rg. Next thing, if you see, what more we can do with this? If there is no external force acting on the body, that means the energy will be conserved. All the kinetic energy and potential energy at this point will be equal to kinetic energy and potential energy at this point. Now see here, if I say potential energy at this point if we take to be 0, with respect to this point the potential energy will be increased by a value that will be 2 mgr. Mg, this is r, so 2 mgr. So you see, total mechanical energy at A is equal to total mechanical energy at B. Total mechanical energy at B, and let us equate both the two. Kinetic energy at A is half m u square, kinetic energy at B is half m v square, plus you see here we can easily write this as 2 mgr. The potential energy sum we can easily write it as 2 mgr. Now you see here can be cancelled out, we can write this as, and 2 if you multiply everywhere you will be getting u square is equal to v square plus 4 rg. That is what you can do, u square equal to v square plus 4 rg. Now v square already we have evaluated, v square equal to rg, put it here, v square is equal to rg plus 4 rg. You will be obtaining u square as 5 rg, and u will come out to be under root 5 rg. That means for limiting value, to just for the body reach at the highest point and complete the circle, you have to throw the body with a minimum velocity that is equal to under root 5 rg. Remember this part. So under root 5 rg, if you see, under root 5 rg for the body to move at the topmost point. If you throw the body with a speed under root 5 rg, you will be actually able to complete the circle. So let's check the right option. The right option, A incorrect, B incorrect, C is the correct option, under root 5 rg. This is the right answer. I hope that you have understood how to solve this question, easy question, and once you need to do it on your own to understand how to solve this one. The tension and force equation at the bottommost point A was not required, but I showed you how equations can be framed if you proceed stepwise. Let's go ahead with the next question of the day. Question number 3. A block of mass 10 kg moving in x direction with a constant speed of 10 meter per second is subjected to a retarding force F is equal to 0.1 x Newton per meter during its travel from x equal to 20 to x equal to 30. Its final kinetic energy will be. We need to find out its final kinetic energy. Before that, try to understand the body is moving with a constant speed. That means it is having some initial value of kinetic energy. We are interested to find the final value of kinetic energy. I have told you work done by all the forces is equal to change in kinetic energy. Here we will be using that concept only. And if you see here, force is a retarding force. It's going to reduce its speed. And we need to if we find out what is the amount of work done during its retardation, what is the amount of work done by the force, that much amount of energy will be reduced. So let me see here how to do this. F is equal to 0.nx Newton per meter. It's a distance dependent retarding force. Given that F is equal to 0.1 x Newton per meter. Now try to understand how you can reach on to the things. First of all, it's a retarding force. That means it will do some negative work, and that means the final kinetic energy has to be reduced. Let's try to find out what is the amount of work done by this force. So amount of work done by the force will come out to be, if I write dw is equal to f dx. So f if I write as 0.1 x and dx is here, and finally if I integrate dw from 0 to w, we have to integrate x from 20 to 30, 0.1 x dx. This is what we can do. You can see here force equation is given as 0.1x dx, 0.1x. Now simply you integrate this term, you will be having 0.1, keep it here, x integrated, you will be getting x square by 2, 20 to 30, 30 whole square, and now this divided by 2, I am taking it outside. So 30 whole square minus 20 whole square, we will be having 0.1 divided by 2, 30 whole square minus 20 whole square. We will be obtaining 30 whole square 900 minus 20 whole square, that is 400. You are going to get 0.1 by 2 into 500. This will come out to be 0.1 by 2 into 500. That comes out to be, this will be 500 by 2, 250. Multiply by 0.1, you will be getting 25 joules. Finally, I have expressed 25 joules as the work done by this force. Now you see the initial value of kinetic energy. The initial value of kinetic energy, that will be how much? Initial value of kinetic energy, that will be equal to half mu square. The body mass is given as, you see here, the mass of the body is 10 kg, its speed is also 10 meter per second. So half mu square, 10, and u will be 10 whole square. So 100 into 10, 1000 by 2, 500 joules. Now I have shown that this work is positive, but it's a retarding force. It's going to do negative work on the body. So the work done by the force, that is actually, work done by the force will be actually negative, and it will be minus 25 joule. The force is retarding. Either you can go ahead and proceed as, write this as minus 0.1x, and then you find out the work done, you will be getting same work done, that is minus 25 joules. So we got this work done by the force is given as minus 25 joule. Now you see here, the change in kinetic energy is work done by all the forces. Change in kinetic energy is equal to minus 25 joule. So kinetic energy final minus kinetic energy initial is equal to minus 25 joule. So kinetic energy final will turn out to be kinetic energy initial plus minus 25 joule. So kinetic energy initial minus 25 joule. Kinetic energy initial is 500. That is what we have evaluated. Hence, it will come out to be 475 joules. 475 joules. So let us see the right answer, option number A, 475 joules. This is the value of final kinetic energy, because negative work is done by the force as per the given information. I hope that you have got how to solve such kind of question. And now we'll be proceeding with the next one. I hope that you enjoy the class and you are very well obtaining all the things that we are discussing here. Let's go to the next question of the day. The heart of a man pumps 5 liters of blood through the arteries per minute at a pressure of 150 mm of mercury. If the density of mercury be 13.6 into 10 to the power 3 kg per cubic meter and G equals to 10 per square meter per square second, then the power of the heart in watt is 1.17, B 2.35, C 3 and D 1.5. How to express the power, how to find this complicated data. It's not straight with data that has been provided to us. It says that it pumps 5 liters of blood through the arteries per minute. So if I talk about rate of pumping, it is given as delta V by delta T. 5 liters of blood. 5 liters of blood is pumped. So can we write this as 5? And if I write about the actually amount, that is 5 liters. So 1 liter is how much? 10 to the power minus 3 cubic meter. So 5 liter is 1 into 10 to the power minus 3 cubic meter. This is what you can express, because 1000 liters is equal to 1 cubic meter. Divided by time, that is 60 seconds. First we can write this. So this will be 1 upon 12 multiplied with 10 to the power minus 3 cubic meter per second. This is what you can write the rate of pump. Now see the pressure difference along which it is pumping, the pressure difference, that is 150 mm of Hg, and pressure difference is rho GH. Rho GH we can actually express that is, now h is given as 150 mm, rho is given as 13.6 into 10 to power 3. So express this as 13.6 into 10 to power 3 multiplied with 13.6 10 to power 3, that is the value of rho, multiplied with g, that is 10, and h is 150 mm, that can be written as 150 into 10 to power minus 3 of meters. So you are going to get the pressure difference in terms of standard units, that is Newton per square meter. Hope that you have obtained this value how we have done. Pressure difference we have evaluated, we are at the rate of the pump. Now we need to find out the power. So since we have completed this part, so take note of this, and I will go with the other part of the board by rubbing it. Let me rub the not required parts. Rate of pump we have taken delta V by delta T. This is what we have written, and pressure difference we have written rho GH as here. This was delta V by delta T, that is what we have expressed, and this is the pressure difference. Let me mark this as delta P, or even pressure P we can mark. Now see here, the power is how much? The power is given as work done per unit time. This is what is the power. We can write work done as F delta X by delta T, not a problem. Now F is what? F is actually pressure into area into delta X divided by delta T. Now try to understand as per the given question. A into delta X will be the volume divided by time. This is actually delta V by delta T. So pressure into delta V by delta T, this will be the power of the heart. Now delta V by delta T is given, pressure is given. So finally what you do, just simply multiply this term with this term, you will be getting the required answer. So if I write all the values, I will be having 13.6 into 15, 13.6 into 15, and rest you see 10 to the power 3, 10 to the power 4, 10 to the power 5, 10 to the power minus 3, 10 to the power 2 you will be left with. Next you see multiply this 1 by 12 10 to the power minus 3. This is what you will be getting in watts. Finally, if you just simply do the calculation, you will get the answer in very simple term. It will be 1.17 watt. This is a previous year AIPMT question, so I believe that it's a good, you can understand what kind of questions are asked in your examination. 1.17 watt. Option number A clearly matches, so we'll be having this answer as the right answer for our question. So sometime calculation based question can be asked in your examination, so you should be thorough with it how to proceed with such kinds of question. Let's go with the next question of the day. I believe that you have understood how to solve this one. Next question of the day. Question number 5. The potential energy of a particle in a force field is U equals to A upon R square minus B upon R, where A and B are positive constants and R is the distance of particle from the center of the field. For stable equilibrium, the distance of the particle is B by 2A, 2A by B, C A by B, and D B by A. It's given U is given in terms of R, A upon R square. U is equal to A upon R square minus B upon R. Minus B upon R, this is what we have been provided with. Now at any point of equilibrium, try to understand the rate of change of potential energy, that should be 0, because force at that point should be 0. So minus du by dr, actually we have to write minus du by dr, that should be equal to 0. So if you do here A upon R square, so A R to the power minus 2, if you write it as, you will be having A R to the power minus 2, that will come out to be minus 2 R to the power minus 3, minus B power R, so we will be having minus B R to the power minus 1, so that will turn out to be minus 1 R to the power minus 2. This is what you will be getting for minus du by dr. So let us write this as minus 2 A upon R cube, and this as plus B upon R square. This is what you can write down. Now see that you are provided with, for stable equilibrium, the distance of the particle is, now we have to find out from the center what is the distance. So what you do, take note till here, and let me write at the other end, take note till here. So I believe you would have taken down till this end. Now you see here, as per the given question, we need to find the distance R, and for equilibrium du by dr has to be 0, So we can simply write minus du by dr, that is should be equated to 0. So if we write this as minus du by dr is equal to 0, that will turn out to be minus 2a by r cube divided by, plus br by r square, that has to be 0. So for this you see b by r square will be equal to 2a by r cube. From here if you simplify this, you will be getting r is equal to 2a by b. That is, at r equals to 2a by b, you will be having the rate of change of potential energy as 0, and that will be only the point of equilibrium, and here it's stable equilibrium. So r equals to 2a by b. So let's see the option. The second option clearly matches with our right response. Rest all are incorrect. These are some very good 5 questions that we have discussed, and these have been asked in previous examinations. Hope that this will be very much helpful for your practice and your exercise. For the next good questions, I will meet you on the next exercise. Till the time, I wish you all the very best, and thank you everyone for joining me here.